The cabin went silent. Every passenger stared as Judge Everett Marshall stood there composed, but deeply hurt. His eyes didn't show anger, just the tired disappointment of a man who had lived this moment too many times. The flight attendant's smile faded, the supervisor's confidence cracked. Even the wealthy businessman who had mocked the judge earlier now avoided eye contact. Judge Everett finally spoke. "I asked you a simple question," he said softly. "Why did you assume I didn't belong here?" The supervisor swallowed hard. "Sir, it wasn't an assumption. It was protocol." Protocol. Everett raised an eyebrow. "Or prejudice dressed as protocol." No one breathed. The businessman shifted in his seat, embarrassment creeping up his neck. The young couple beside him whispered quietly, "I think he is someone important." The flight attendant stepped forward. Her voice trembled. "Sir, please. We didn't know." Judge Everett nodded slowly. "And that is exactly the problem. You didn't know me. You didn't ask me. You judged me the moment I walked in." The supervisor now stood frozen, unsure whether to apologize or flee. "I'm not asking for special treatment," Everett continued. "I'm asking for equal treatment. The treatment any paying passenger deserves." A middle-aged woman in the third row lifted her phone. "Sir, if you want, I recorded everything," she said quietly. This kind of discrimination needs to be exposed." Everett shook his head gently. "No, I don't want revenge. I want change. Public humiliation doesn't fix private bias." The supervisor's eyes filled with guilt. "Sir, please, your seat is ready." Judge Everett looked at the seat, then at the people, then back at the seat again. But instead of sitting, he turned toward the narrow aisle of the plane. "Before I take my seat," he announced clearly, "I want to say something." Passengers leaned forward. Every day, people who look like me walk into rooms where they've earned their place through hard work, sacrifice, and discipline. Yet still, we are questioned, doubted, watched, judged. You could hear a pin drop. "We talk about equality in this country," he said, his voice firm but gentle. But equality is not a slogan. It's a responsibility to treat everyone with dignity. When your assumptions want to tell you a different story. The businessman lowered his eyes in shame. The flight attendant wiped a tear. Even the pilot had stepped out of the cockpit, listening silently. Judge Everett looked around the cabin one last time. "I am not upset because you asked for my boarding pass," he said. "I am upset because you asked only because you assumed I didn't belong." He paused. "And that assumption is the very thing we must unlearn." A slow ripple of applause broke out, then louder. Then the entire cabin rose to their feet. Even the supervisor clapped awkwardly at first, then with genuine respect. Everett finally stepped into his seat. As he settled in, the businessman beside him leaned over. "Sir," he whispered, "I owe you an apology. I was out of line." Everett looked at him, not with anger, but with grace. "Thank you," he said. "That means more than you think." The businessman nodded, relieved. Minutes later, the plane began to taxi down the runway. The cabin lights dimmed. Passengers adjusted their seats, but something had changed, not just in the plane, but in every person who witnessed what happened. An hour into the flight, the supervisor quietly approached Everett's seat. "Judge Marshall," she said softly. "We've reported the incident to the airline. There will be training, real training, not the checkbox kind." Everett smiled. "That's a good start. And sir, thank you for handling this with dignity." He nodded. "I've learned that dignity is the one thing prejudice cannot take away." She walked away, her eyes brighter, her heart heavier, her mind changed. As the flight continued, Everett looked out the window. Clouds drifted beneath the wings like slow-moving waves. And for the first time that day, he felt peace. He didn't expose anyone. He didn't yell. He didn't shame. He taught. He showed. He reminded. And above all, he proved that sometimes the most powerful fight against injustice is not rage, but calm truth spoken in the face of ignorance. When the plane finally landed, passengers waited outside the aisle just to shake his hand. Thank you for speaking up. You changed how I see things. You handled it with so much dignity. I won't forget this. One by one, they left. Judge Everett stepped into the terminal. He pulled his small leather briefcase onto his shoulder and walked forward and bothered unshaken, unapologetically proud. He belonged in first class. He always had. And now, finally, everyone else knew it too.